Welcome to the audiobook version of The Kite Runner, a profound and stirring novel penned by the acclaimed author Khaled Hosseini. This narrative transports listeners to the tumultuous settings of Afghanistan, from the fall of the monarchy through the Soviet invasion, the exodus of refugees to Pakistan and the United States, and finally, the rise of the Taliban regime. At its heart, this story explores themes of friendship, betrayal, redemption, and the complex bonds of family, all set against the backdrop of a country in turmoil. In an effort to bring this powerful story to a wider audience, we have carefully crafted a condensed version of the original narrative, ensuring that all pivotal aspects and the depth of emotion within the story are preserved. This adaptation is divided into four main parts: the introduction, which sets the scene and introduces the intricate relationship between the characters Amir and Hassan; Part 1, which delves into their childhood in Kabul and the pivotal events that define their friendship and Amir's subsequent betrayal; Part 2, which follows Amir and his father Baba as they escape to America and attempt to build a new life; Part 3, which sees Amir return to a Taliban-controlled Afghanistan in a bid to rescue Sohrab, Hassan's son, and confront his past; and finally, Part 4, which focuses on Amir's quest for redemption and the conclusion of his journey. Through this abridged version, listeners will experience the essence of Hosseini's masterful storytelling, embarking on a journey that is both heart-wrenching and hopeful. The Kite Runner is not just a story of individual characters, but a reflection on the history of Afghanistan and the human capacity for both cruelty and kindness. As we navigate through the story, we invite you to reflect on the themes of guilt, redemption, and the power of unconditional love. This audiobook is a tribute to the enduring spirit of the Afghan people, and a reminder of the stories that connect us across cultures and continents. In the winter of 1975, a single event changed the course of my life, but it took years before I could confront its aftermath. This is a tale woven through the streets of Kabul, where my childhood unfolded under the vast, clear skies, a city that now lives only in my memories. I, Amir, share this story, a journey of deep bonds, unspeakable betrayals, and a quest for redemption that stretched from the alleys of Kabul to the far reaches of America. Hassan and I were more than friends. We were brothers of different mothers, connected by an invisible thread of loyalty and love. He was the best kite runner I had ever known, his smile as wide as the horizon after a storm. My father, Baba, stood as a giant among men, his expectations casting long shadows over my aspirations. Despite our shared laughter and dreams, a silent battle raged within me, a tempest of jealousy and longing for my father's pride. Our bond was tested on the battlefield of a kite-fighting tournament, where victory could earn me Baba's elusive nod. Hassan promised, "For you, 1,000 times over," not knowing the cost of his loyalty. That day, as I claimed the last falling kite, a horrific act of violence was committed against Hassan. I witnessed it, hidden behind a corner, too cowardly to intervene. This story is not just about that winter day. It's a reflection on the scars it left, on the journey to find forgiveness, and on the relentless whisper of hope that even in our darkest moments, there is a way to be good again. It is a narrative that spans continents and decades, a tale of how the past can bury itself deep within us, only to resurface when we least expect it. In the heart of Kabul, where the air buzzed with life and the mountains watched over us, my childhood unfolded alongside Hassan's. We were an unlikely pair. I, the son of a wealthy merchant, and he, the son of our servant, yet our friendship knew no bounds. Our days were filled with adventures in the streets of our city, our laughter echoing off the walls that had seen centuries pass. We shared stories under the shade of the pomegranate tree, dreaming of what the future held, oblivious to the ways of the world that already set us on different paths. Hassan was not just my friend, he was my kite runner, the best there was. Kite fighting was the winter sport of Kabul's children, a war of paper and bamboo where victory was determined not just by the one who held the string, but by the one who chased and captured the defeated kites. Hassan had a gift, an unspoken understanding of the wind, and a loyalty so fierce, he once said, "For you, 1,000 times over," a phrase that would forever echo the depth of his devotion to me. Despite the joy, a shadow lurked within me, a serpent coiled around the stem of our friendship. My father, Baba, was a mountain of a man, respected and admired, his shadow stretching far and wide. Next to him, I felt small, not just in stature but in spirit. Baba saw the world in black and white, courage and cowardice, and I lived in fear of being found lacking. Hassan, with his unwavering bravery and simple heart, often shone brighter in Baba's eyes, igniting a flame of jealousy within me. The kite fighting tournament of 1975 was more than a game. It was my chance to win Baba's approval, to step out of Hassan's shadow. The sky that day was a battlefield, and I was a general, strategizing and maneuvering. When my kite was the last one flying, a triumphant euphoria swept through me, but it was short-lived. Hassan ran to fetch my kite, a symbol of my victory, and it was then that the threads of our lives began to unravel. Hassan encountered a Saif, a notorious bully with a sadistic streak, in an alleyway. I followed, hiding when I saw the impending violence. Frozen by fear and selfish desires for my father's approval, I watched in silence as Hassan was assaulted, where the kite in his hands was nothing but a small consolation for his loyalty to me. That moment of cowardice would haunt me, like a ghost whispering of betrayal and the loss of innocence. In the aftermath, our friendship was a garden overgrown with weeds of guilt and silence. Hassan's once radiant smile dimmed, and the pomegranate tree under which we had shared so many dreams now stood as a monument to my betrayal. Baba, unaware of the chasm between us, continued to treat Hassan with a kindness that only deepened my guilt. The words, "A boy who won't stand up for himself becomes a man who can't stand up to anything," echoed in my mind. Baba's disappointment a constant reminder of my failure. The chasm deepened when, consumed by guilt and desperation to erase the past, I orchestrated a deceitful plot that would forever alter our lives. In a moment of weakness, I hid my new watch and some money under Hassan's mattress, crafting a narrative of theft that I knew Baba would believe. When confronted, Hassan, in an act of sacrifice and perhaps understanding more than he let on, did not deny the accusations, accepting the blame with a quiet dignity that only served to magnify my own cowardice. Baba's reaction was unexpected. He forgave Hassan, a gesture that spoke volumes of his own complex feelings towards him, perhaps hinting at the deep-seated secrets yet to be revealed. However, the damage was irrevocable. Ali and Hassan chose to leave, unable to remain in a home shadowed by betrayal and lies, leaving me to grapple with the consequences of my actions. Their departure marked the end of our childhood, the innocence of our early years, lost to the harsh realities of life. As they walked away from our home, the sky of Kabul seemed to dim, the laughter and joy we once shared silenced by the weight of my betrayal. In their absence, the house echoed with the ghosts of our past, each corner a reminder of the bond we had broken. The theft, a mere fabrication, became the linchpin in the unraveling of our lives, setting us on paths that would lead far from the streets of Kabul. As the political landscape of Afghanistan shifted, mirroring the tumult within my own heart, I realized that the journey ahead would be long and fraught with the shadows of the past. My actions, born of weakness and fear, had set into motion a series of events that would define my journey towards understanding, forgiveness, and ultimately, redemption. Quick pause, folks. If you're enjoying this concise journey through The Kite Runner, why not give a thumbs up and share the love? It really helps us out. Don't forget to subscribe for more distilled literary adventures through Briefly Books. Now, let's dive back into the story. As Kabul receded into the background of our lives, the memories of Hassan, of our shared laughter, and the unspoken bond, remained a beacon, guiding me towards the hope that redemption, though a distant dream, was still within reach. In the silence of their absence, I began to understand the true cost of my actions, embarking on a journey not just of geographical distance, but of the soul, seeking forgiveness in a world forever changed by the choices of a boy too afraid to stand up for his friend. Amidst the chaos of the Soviet invasion, Kabul, the city of my childhood, transformed overnight from a place of laughter and kite fights to one of fear and uncertainty. Baba and I found ourselves at a crossroads, forced to leave behind everything we knew and loved. The decision to flee was not just about escaping the violence. It was a desperate bid for survival, for a chance at a life untainted by the shadow of war. Our journey to America was marked by a series of silent sacrifices and unspoken hardships. The night we crossed the border into Pakistan, under the cloak of darkness, was the first step into our new reality. Baba, once a pillar of the Kabul community, now had to navigate a life reduced to the contents of a single suitcase. War doesn't negate decency. It demands it, even more than in times of peace, he muttered, a mantra that seemed to guide him through our days in the refugee camps. In Pakistan, we lived among a sea of displaced faces, each carrying their own story of loss and resilience. Baba, who had once commanded respect and admiration, now sold used goods at the market to make ends meet. I watched him, this giant of a man, shrink under the weight of our new life, his pride wounded, but his spirit unbroken. It was in these moments, amidst the struggle and the strife, that I began to truly understand the depth of his character, the unyielding strength that defined him. Our arrival in America marked the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, but also with the daunting challenge of starting over. The land of the free was a bewildering maze of customs and languages, a place where Baba and I were strangers in every sense. He found work at a gas station, a far cry from his status in Kabul, but he tackled it with the same determination that had propelled him through life. People say that eyes are windows to the soul, I reflected, watching him interact with customers, his dignity intact despite the circumstances. For me, America was a canvas of self-discovery, a place where I could bury the ghosts of my past and carve out a new identity. School became my sanctuary, a bridge to a future I had once only dared to dream of. I immersed myself in my studies, in the world of books and words, finding solace in the stories of others who had traversed paths of pain and redemption. Yet, beneath the surface of our new life, the specter of my past loomed large. The nights were the hardest, filled with dreams of Hassan and the unspoken guilt that clung to me like a second skin. The kite fights, the laughter, the betrayal, every memory was a reminder of the life and the friend I had abandoned. For you, 1,000 times over, Hassan's words echoed in the recesses of my mind, a haunting refrain of loyalty and love that I had failed to uphold. Our journey from Kabul to America was more than a physical relocation. It was an emotional odyssey that tested the limits of our resilience. Baba and I, navigating the complexities of our new reality, found moments of connection in our shared nostalgia for the Afghanistan of our memories. We celebrated Nowruz with other Afghan expatriates, clinging to the traditions of our homeland, a bittersweet reminder of all we had lost. In America, amidst the struggle to find our footing, Baba and I forged a new bond, one that was not just defined by our shared history, but by our mutual journey of adaptation and survival. The sacrifices he made, the dignity with which he faced every challenge, taught me more about courage and honor than any victory in a kite-fighting tournament ever could. The years in America brought with them a gradual healing, a slow stitching together of the wounds of our past. Baba's untimely death, a painful coda to our story of escape and survival, left me with a legacy of strength, resilience, and an unspoken mandate to seek redemption for the sins of my past. His passing was not just the loss of a father, but the fading of a guiding light, leaving me to navigate the complexities of my identity and the shadows of my guilt on my own. Enjoying the essence of the Kite Runner? A simple like goes a long way. Share this gem with friends and hit subscribe for more book magic condensed. Ready for the next chapter? Let's continue. Reflecting on our journey from the precipice of war in Kabul to the uncertain promise of America, I realized that the quest for redemption was not confined to the physical landscapes we had traversed. It was a journey that stretched across the emotional terrains of guilt, forgiveness, and the relentless pursuit of atonement. In the tapestry of our new life, woven through with threads of loss and resilience, the lessons of my childhood in Kabul remained a constant beacon, guiding me toward the realization that redemption is not just about making amends for the past, but about the courage to face the future with integrity, compassion, and a heart open to the possibility of new beginnings. Years had passed since I last walked the streets of Kabul, the city of my childhood now a distant memory. Yet, the call from Rahim Khan, "There is a way to be good again," ignited a flicker of hope in the depths of my guilt-ridden soul. It was this call that compelled me back to Afghanistan, to face the ghosts of my past and perhaps find redemption. The Kabul I returned to was unrecognizable, its once vibrant streets now muted under the oppressive rule of the Taliban. The laughter of children flying kites, the hustle of the markets, all were replaced by the silence of fear. It was in this altered world that I sought forgiveness, not just from those I had wronged, but from myself. Rahim Khan, now frail and aged, awaited me with truths that would shake the very foundation of my being. He revealed that Hassan, my childhood friend, my kite runner, was my half-brother, a secret kept hidden for decades. This revelation tore through me, reframing every memory I had of Hassan, every moment of friendship, every act of betrayal. The weight of my past actions, my cowardice, bore down upon me with renewed force. People say that eyes are windows to the soul, and in that moment, I saw my own soul reflected in the pain of my betrayals. Hassan had been killed, a martyr of senseless violence, leaving behind a son, Sohrab. It was for Sohrab that I had returned, to rescue him from an orphanage, to save him from the clutches of the same darkness that had consumed Hassan. My mission was clear, yet the path was fraught with danger. Kabul was no longer the city I had fled. It was a battlefield, scarred by war and ruled by fear. Navigating the streets of Kabul, I was confronted with the stark reality of what the city had become. Every corner held a shadow, every face a story of loss. The orphanage, a beacon of faint hope amidst the despair, held the key to finding Sohrab. The director, a man worn down by the suffering he witnessed daily, confirmed my fears. Sohrab had been taken, sold into a fate worse than death, by a high-ranking Taliban official known for his cruelty. The name of the official sent a chill through my spine. Asef, a ghost from my past, a monster in the guise of a man. It was Asef who had tormented Hassan and me in our youth, his cruelty now given free rein under the Taliban's rule. The realization that Sohrab, Hassan's son, was in the hands of this beast filled me with a dread so profound it threatened to engulf me. Yet, within that dread, a determination took root. I would save Sohrab, not just for Hassan, but for myself. For you, 1,000 times over. Hassan's words echoed in my mind, a promise of loyalty and love that I had failed to uphold. The journey to confront Asef was a journey into the heart of my fears. Each step took me deeper into the darkness of Kabul, a city that had once been my home, but now stood as a testament to the cruelty of fate. I was no longer the boy who watched from a safe distance. I was a man, driven by the need to make amends, to do right by the brother I had never acknowledged. As I prepared to face Asef, to rescue Sohrab from his clutches, I understood the true cost cost of redemption. It was not measured in apologies or gestures of goodwill. It was measured in the willingness to stand against the tide of darkness, to fight for those we love. The battle that awaited me was not just for Sohrab's freedom, it was a battle for my soul. A chance to prove that the boy who had once turned away in cowardice could become a man who stood firm in the face of his greatest fears. In that moment, Kabul, with its ruins and its scars, was the backdrop against which my quest for redemption unfolded. The city, a mirror of my own brokenness, held the possibility of forgiveness, of peace. As I moved through its streets, Rahim Khan's words guided me, a beacon of hope in the darkness. There is a way to be good again. With Hassan's spirit as my shield and the promise of redemption as my guide, I stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Loving The Kite Runner in its brief glory? Show your appreciation with a like, share this snippet of wisdom, and subscribe to Briefly Books for your next quick literary escape. Now back to our story. As Kabul's dusty streets unfolded before me, each step felt like traversing through chapters of a book I had once closed, hoping never to read again. The revelation of Hassan's lineage and the brutal reality of his demise had set me on this path, a journey not just through the physical landscape of a war-torn country, but through the emotional terrain of guilt, longing, and the desperate need for redemption. In the heart of this new Kabul, under the oppressive gaze of the Taliban, my quest for Sohrab became not just a mission but a pilgrimage. The city, now a shadow of the place I once called home, seemed to hold its breath as I passed, its walls whispering secrets of the past, echoing the phrase, "For you," 1,000 times over. Like a mantra leading me forward, my search led me to the darkest corners of Kabul, where the fragile innocence of youth was traded by monsters masquerading as men. Asef, a specter from my childhood nightmares, had taken Sohrab, using him as a weapon to wield power and instill fear. The realization that Hassan's son, my nephew, was in the clutches of such evil filled me with a resolve I had never known. It was a resolve born of the love I had for Hassan, a love that had been silent for too long, buried beneath layers of guilt and regret. Confronting Asef was like facing the embodiment of my darkest fears. The encounter was inevitable, a clash of past and present, where every blow exchanged was laden with the weight of unspoken words and deeds. In that moment, fighting for Sohrab's freedom, I found a strength that seemed foreign to me. As if the spirit of Hassan coursed through my veins, guiding my actions and lending me the courage I had always lacked. The battle was brutal, a testament to the cruelty that had seeped into the very fabric of Kabul. But it was also a catharsis, a physical manifestation of the internal struggle I had endured for so long. Emerging battered but victorious, I held Sohrab in my arms, a living testament to the promise I had made to myself, to Hassan, and to the memory of a friendship that had once been my world. Rescuing Sohrab was only the beginning of a long journey, a journey back to a semblance of peace and normalcy. The road out of Kabul was laden with the echoes of the past, each mile a step towards healing. As we traveled, I shared with Sohrab stories of his father, of the kite running days that painted our childhood with strokes of joy and simplicity. It was a bittersweet recollection, a way to bridge the gap between past and present, to bring Hassan's memory to life for the son he never got to see grow. Bringing Sohrab to America was not the end of our trials. It was merely the start of a new chapter. The scars of his past, both physical and emotional, were deep, manifesting in silence and withdrawal. It was a silence that spoke volumes, a reminder of the horrors he had endured and the resilience of his spirit. Soraya and I, determined to provide him with the love and security he so desperately needed, found ourselves navigating the delicate process of healing, of building trust, and forging bonds that went beyond blood. It was in the simple act of flying a kite that I found a connection to Sohrab, a bridge across the chasm of pain and loss. On a clear day, with the wind in our favor, we took to the park, a kite soaring above us, its tail dancing against the backdrop of a cloudless sky. In that moment, with the string taut between us, I felt a shift, a loosening of the grief that had bound us both. "For you, 1,000 times over," I whispered to the wind, a vow of protection, of unwavering love and dedication to Hassan's son. This journey, from the heartache of Kabul to the hopeful tranquility of America, was more than a quest to save Sohrab. It was my path to redemption. Through Sohrab, Hassan's legacy lived on, a beacon guiding me toward a better version of myself, a version capable of love, forgiveness, and the courage to face the past. Finding The Kite Runner enlightening, a thumbs up tells us you want more. Share to keep the literary love going, and subscribe to Briefly Books for more brief book adventures. Now, let's resume our journey. The journey of redemption, often arduous and fraught with setbacks, found its culmination not on the war-torn streets of Kabul, but in the quiet, everyday moments in America. Bringing Sohrab to this foreign land marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where the shadows of our shared trauma sought refuge in the corners of our new life together. Each day with Sohrab was a step on the path of healing, a delicate dance of patience and love, attempting to mend the scars left by years of neglect and violence. Sohrab, with eyes that mirrored the depth of his suffering, carried the weight of his past in every silence, every hesitant smile. The void left by Hassan's absence loomed large, a silent testament to the cost of my past actions. Despite the physical distance from Kabul, the specter of my betrayal, the memory of the kite tangled in the branches of the pomegranate tree, followed me across continents, a constant reminder of the unspoken pain between us. Soraya and I enveloped Sohrab in a world filled with as much love and stability as we could muster. Yet the barriers erected by his trauma were not easily dismantled. The journey to reclaim the spirit of the vibrant, laughing child he once was seemed at times insurmountable. It was in the simplest of acts, the act of flying a kite, that a bridge was built between our worlds. The open sky, a canvas of possibilities, allowed Sohrab to step out of the shadow of his past, if only for a moment. "For you, 1,000 times over," I found myself whispering to Sohrab, a promise of endless support, a vow to stand by him through the darkness and into the light. This act, insignificant in its execution, but monumental in its meaning, symbolized the slow rebuilding of trust, the first step towards a future unmarred by the horrors of Sohrab's past. It was a moment of connection, a shared experience that whispered of hope, of new beginnings. The kite, soaring against the backdrop of a clear sky, became a symbol of our journey from despair to hope, from guilt to redemption. The path to redemption, I learned, was not marked by grand gestures, but by the willingness to confront the past, to embrace the pain and the guilt, and to strive for forgiveness. It was a journey that required not just the courage to face the ghosts of my past, but the strength to forge a new legacy, one where the chains of past mistakes no longer held sway. In Sohrab, I saw the possibility of redemption, not just for myself, but for the memory of Hassan, the brother I had failed, the friend I had betrayed. Through Sohrab, Hassan's legacy would live on, not as a reminder of the pain and loss, but as a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring power of love and forgiveness. The story of the Kite Runner, in its essence, is a tale of redemption, a narrative woven through with the complexities of human emotion, the depth of familial bonds, and the capacity for forgiveness. It is a reminder that, though we may be shaped by our past, we are not bound by it. In the flight of a kite, in the laughter of a child, lies the promise of renewal. A reminder that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there is light, there is hope, and there is a way to be good again. Through this journey, from the streets of Kabul to the peace of our home in America, I discovered the true meaning of redemption. It was not about erasing the past, but about confronting it, learning from it, and using it to build a future where the mistakes of yesterday no longer dictate the possibilities of tomorrow. In this quest, I found not just forgiveness for myself, but the strength to offer it to others, to stand by them as Hassan had once stood by me, unwavering and loyal to the end. For you, 1,000 times over, became not just a promise to Sohrab, but a vow to myself, to live each day with the courage to face the truth, the strength to seek forgiveness, and the hope to find redemption in the act of loving and being loved. Finally, we would like to thank you for staying with us till the very end. This audiobook was brought to you by Briefly Books, your go-to destination for condensed versions of your favorite reads. Enjoyed the journey of the Kite Runner? Show your support by hitting that like button, sharing this with fellow book enthusiasts, and subscribing to Briefly Books. Your engagement not only helps us grow, but ensures you never miss out on the wonders of a good book. Distilled. Let's revolutionize reading together. Subscribe and become part of the Briefly Books community today. Thanks again.